We have been watching and we have been seeing choral interpretations using my Thirukkural English couplets. Welcome to this Thirukkural English Couplet TV. And we have already seen 18 chapters. Now we are coming to the 19th chapter. Slander not or be honest. This is the title of the chapter. And we have 10 chorals here, and we are going to see all the 10 chorals in a stretch in one video, because each choral is interlinked with the other. So each one is interlinked. That is why we are going to see everything in a stretch. So this will be rather easier for you to understand also when you listen to and watch this video. I have made 16 heads or headings in 1330 chorals in 133 chapters. These are for our rather understanding 16 heads or headings, which are nothing but aspects, which we have been now seeing. That is 19th chapter is also coming under family counseling. 19th and 20th, with the 20th it ends, and we would start the next one. And this has been translated as Thirukkural is. That means 4 plus 3, 7-word translation. This is translated as it is. I mean, as the Thirukkural is. Where Thirukkural has used Kural Venba, I have used the Kural Venba, the same Kural Venba from Thirukkural, and a couplet grammar for my translation, because it has to comply with the grammar of English language. So English language grammar says, I mean the couplet grammar says that there should be the metric, same syllabic meter in 2 lines. The same way it is, I have complied with that requirement, and I have translated the same way using one specific approach called semantical approach, because I used the spirit of Thirukkural. The same spirit is reflecting on the Thirukkural English couplets. So the same way you can have the 7 words, and you can have the spirit of Thirukkural there. We can start from the first one. Backbiting is the worst of all evils. Whatever starts with this one. Before that, slander not or be honest. Slander not. Slander not. Slander not means there are, even in Indian Penal Code. Indian Penal Code, we have section 500, 499 and 500, which speaks about the 500. Section 500 speaks about defamation, where we deal with the slander, libel, all such. Defaming people using our speech, slandering or libel. Libel means through writing we are defaming. Slander means through speech we do that. Here Waldemar is advising us not to do that slander work. That is slandering others. Defaming others by use of backbiting. It's one of the it's one kind of a crime. We should not do that. That is why it's punishable under Indian Penal Code, IPC. Now we can see this. IPC was this IPC 1860 Indian Penal Code 1860 very clearly says about it. So Waldemar asks us not to do that. Let's go. First Quran. Backbiting is the worst of all evils. Backbiting means speaking ill of others in that person's absence. If you start speaking about others in the person's absence, it's called backbiting. Whatever is asking us not to do, because it is an evil. It is the worst of all evils. It is also an evil, but it is the worst of all evils. That's what's considered crime in India. Not only in India. You can find in most of the laws throughout the world, you can find that this type of a defamation is a crime. It's a kind of crime. So that's why Valdivar is asking us not to do that, not to commit that kind of evil. Backbiting is the worst of all evils. So don't do that. This resembles Psalms 15:15, where psalmist in the Bible is advising us not to do that. So he is telling us one more thing, that is called reproach, which is also touched by Valdivar in the forthcoming. I mean, the previous Qurals he touched it, and in the following Qurals also he would touch, not only here in this chapter, in the other coming chapters. Let's see that later. Next one, second Qural, hypocrisy is backbiting, that is the worst. Now he is calling backbiting is hypocrisy. Hypocrisy means you can talk to a person in a better way and in a nice way, and you can be with that person in a nice way, and after he's leaving you, you are talking about him to somebody else. That's backbiting. So that's why he is telling the backbiting is hypocrisy. It's nothing but a hypocrisy, because you are talking to the person in a nice way. He thinks that you are a good person. When he leaves you, you start speaking about him, speaking ill of him to some other person. To some other person, talking ill of him to some other person is backbiting in his absence. Talking about that, talking ill of that person without anybody in your presence, that is reproach. So here he is talking about backbiting. Reproach is not a crime punishable in law, because you have not talked to anybody, you are talking to yourself. That's an evil that God has only to punish you. But as far as this is concerned, this law even will punish you. So hypocrisy is backbiting. So we should pray. That is why it's the worst. This is worst because it is a hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is the first one, because you are behaving well, and in his absence you are not behaving well. You are talking something ill of him to somebody else. So that way you are defaming him. His name is, his reputation is spoiled. You are spoiling his name, his reputation. That's why it's known as an assassination of his character. That's why the law considered it an assassination. Assassination is nothing but murder. Committing murder, it's equal to committing murder. That's why he's saying that it's the worst one. Next, the third one, that is Quran number 183. Better to die than living to backbite. He's telling it is but better to die than to backbite. If you are very constrained, if you are compelled, you are forced, your impulses are forcing you to backbite, it's better to die. Death is better than backbiting. So that is worst of all things. That is why he is very constrained to condemn that act of backbiting, saying that it's better to die than backbiting. 184. Slander not despite rebuke in your presence. That is he is coming. Reproach is something else, which I was talking about. Now he is telling rebuke. Rebuke is you can find fault with somebody who may be your friend. In his presence, you can condemn him. You can tell him that he has committed something wrong. You can do that. That's better. But when he goes away from you, you should not slander. You should not slander. That is, you should not speak ill of him. That is backbiting. So slander not, despite a rebuke in your presence. In your presence you can do that, but in his absence you should not do it. That is what he is telling. This is a chapter which is very well defining what is backbiting, what is slander, all such. 185. Backbiting exposes empty mind, devoid of virtues. So now he is telling the person who is committing this evil called backbiting, he is having empty mind. He doesn't have any virtue at all. Empty mind, devoid of virtues. He doesn't have any virtues. He doesn't have any values. He doesn't have any good mind also. Empty mind. He is not intelligent too. So backbiting is to be avoided. Backbiting is speaking ill of somebody in his absence. Speaking about somebody who is not there in the presence of others. That is backbiting. Should be avoided. Slander not others. Slander not others' fault, lest yours exposed. Here he says, 186, slander not others' faults, lest yours exposed. Bible also advises like this. You should not speak about others in others' absence, even about their faults, because there is no use of them and for you too. Because only for enjoyment you are doing that, only for jokes you are doing, jovially you are doing. That is only pleasure for you, not for them. There is no, I mean, if you rebuke them in their presence also, that is something is good for them at least. But here there is no profit for both of you. But at the same time, for your pleasure you are doing it. So that's why he is telling, if you are finding fault with others and you are speaking about those faults in those people's absence, what will happen? You would also have committed some faults. Those faults will be exposed by somebody else. So if you don't want your faults to be exposed, you don't expose others' faults. Keep quiet. Some people would always find fault with others. Their duty is that cynically they will be finding fault with others, and they will be telling that I'm all right and you are not right. So they say we have some rules, no? Okay, not okay, not okay, not okay, not okay. So this is golden rule is called the okay rule. Here, if you find fault with others, you think that you are okay and he is not okay. If you do that, somebody else will say you are not okay, he is okay, and your fault will be exposed. So if you don't want your faults to be exposed, you don't expose others' faults. Don't be a policeman. Policeman is there for finding fault with them, and if they do it, they are for that purpose, they will find it. Don't do that. But since, I mean, if it is necessary for you to take that person to some legal courts or some places, if he commits grave sin or commits crime, that's well and good, that's very different. But not talking about him in his presence, in his absence, that is a crime that should not be committed. That is different from this one. Next one, 187. Smile cultivates friendship, but slander separates comrades. Smile cultivates. He is asking us to be asking us to be with the smiling faces. That will cultivate or give you friends. That will cultivate friendship. That will give you friends. So smile cultivates friendship, but slander separates comrade. Comrade means friends. It will automatically, if he comes to know that you have come slander, he will go away from you. There will not be any friendship. So he is asking us to be with a smiling face. Slandering even of friends guarantees for aliens. Slandering even of friends guarantees for aliens. So here he goes further, one step further, where he says in 188, if you slander about your own friends, it is very sure that you will be backbiting about your enemies. If you are doing it for your friends, you will automatically be doing it for your enemies. So you should not even do for your friends, nor for your enemies. World bears backbiters considering bearing a virtue. World is bearing those people who are backbiting. That's the worst of all evils. But the world, the earth called the planet Earth, is bearing them. Why? Because killing them is not a virtue. So Earth is having them, adjusting with those people only because the Earth thinks that it should not go away from its own virtue. So only for the purpose of, the purpose of keeping its virtue, earth is bearing with them. Otherwise, these people would have been killed. Next one. 190. Measuring our own faults sustains us harmless. Measuring our own faults sustains us harmless. First, before backbiting, we have to measure our own faults. We have to think of as how many faults we have committed. If you start thinking of our own faults, we will not backbite. That means we will sustain us harmless. Harmless means we will not backbite. We will not slander. Because we have committed so many things, and we start counting all those things. We start measuring all those things, measuring all our faults. Then what will happen? Measuring our own faults sustains us harmless. We will not be doing it because we have already done it. So we think that we should not do hereafter, and we will not do for anybody else. So if we start thinking about ourselves, that is nothing but the introspection. If you start introspecting of ourselves, we will stop doing this type of slander work. This will stop. Okay, thank you.